Testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Guys, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. All right. So happy Wednesday. I was about to say happy Monday. Happy Wednesday. For a while, I have been doing my Wednesday shows in the afternoon, but I was like, let me do it tonight. See what this night crowd is about. So yeah, so I'm here, and of course, honey, we got to talk about Chicago. I have P-Ray joining the show tonight, and I see you in the backstage, honey. I'm about to bring you up. No, Joyce, Wednesdays is me, me. And it's mainly centered around the migrant crises. So we got to talk about Chicago and Trump sending in the National Guards. You have Mayor Brandon Johnson. He is in denial. So, um, so yeah. So the question that I asked, which is the title, can the National Guards really fix Chicago's crime problem? I think so. It's going to be something acute, short term, but yes, it can. Now, Trump is already, he sent in the National Guards, as we all know, into DC. And now he is talking about sending them into Chicago, Baltimore, and he already sent them in LA as well. So, you know, Trump also posted on Truth Social yesterday. He says, a really deadly weekend in Chicago, 6 dead, 27 hurt, and crime sprees all over the city. Panic stricken governor, Prezits- Pritzker, Pritzker says that crime is under control when in fact it is just the opposite. He is an incompetent governor who should call me for help. Mayor Johnson is no better. Make Chicago great again. So, yeah, he wants to go into Chicago and fix it.
On earth. Safe. It's going to be the safest place on earth. And we'll do the same thing in Chicago. But I'd like to be asked, as opposed to just going in and doing it. Because, when you go in and do it, then they start screaming, oh, he shouldn't be here. We don't need him. We're doing so well. And then the better we do, they take credit for it. So it's really pretty unfair.
So, yeah, he's thinking about going to Chicago. But I wanted to share this because this is where I got the idea for tonight's topic. Would the National Guard actually curb crime in Chicago? And I'm assuming that this person, this author, actually lives in Chicago or whatever. But this person is saying no. And I think a lot of the Black boule and these white liberals, they don't want the National Guard to come in. But when you look at the crime stats in Chicago, and I'm about to bring P-Ray on and she could, break that down. But when you look at the crime stats, it's showing as of last year a decrease. Now, those crime stats could be inflated, falsified data. That's what came out of DC, that those crime stats were falsified. But I like to hear from the people who actually live there. Now, you have the mayor and you have the governor. They were doing a press conference. They're saying that it's unconstitutional, and it's not. It is not unconstitutional for the president to send in the National Guard, even if the mayor or governor don't want them there. So, yeah, he has authority to do so. And VP Vance Jones, he did an interview this week and said that, Trump can send in troops into cities without their permission. He goes on to say one of the two executive orders Trump signed August 11th directed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to coordinate with state governors to determine whether National Guard troops are needed in their communities. The vice president also said Trump has the legal authority to deploy the National Guard to cities, whether they want the help or not. So whether they wanted help, he can still send them in. Now, what can the National Guard actually do? What is the difference between the National Guard and the police? The National Guard operates under federal control and perform a broader range of domestic missions during declared states of emergency that police cannot, such as disaster relief, assisting with large scale federal law enforcement operations under specific circumstances like Insurrection Act, and providing support services for federal agencies, including personnel for security and border protection. Now, with that, I think one of the main reasons why Trump wants to send in the National Guard, when we're talking about these blue sanctuary cities, it is to help ICE round up and deport illegals, especially the criminal illegals, the illegal criminals. Lately, ICE have been assaulted, they have been doxxed, they've been having issues going into cities rounding people up. So if the National Guard is there, that's part of their job, border protection. That their job is to make sure that that city is secure. So yeah, and also Trump administration, when a president deploys National Guards into a city, they're only legally allowed to be there for 30 days without the permission of Congress. And when after the 30 days, they have to get permission from Congress. And Trump did mention that he will be speaking and seeking permission to extend the National Guards in these cities. So, are they going to be there forever? No, but he wants these National Guards to be in these particular cities for over 30 days. Happy Ray.
Hi, Miss Dana. Having me. You see, I still got on my Fox News makeup. So
I know
shout
you look pretty.
out. They always doll me up before they put me on the camera. So shout out to Fox News. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you have been busy, and so
Girl, have I been busy? Do you know I've been on Fox News 5 times this week? Newsmax twice, One America News Network once, Right Side News Broadcasting once, American Family Association once. And I'm going back on Newsmax tomorrow. So yes, I am on a media run, but I feel good because I asked the Lord to put me here.
I mean, but it's important
Yeah.
because there are a lot of people who are up in arms because Trump, he wants to send in the National Guard into Chicago, and
Well, I'm the beautiful black, or we said the beautiful African American woman who asked him to bring him here. That was me.
mhm.
I've been doing this for the past 2 years. And I'm sorry, let me. I can go on and on about this, but in a nutshell, we have to realize that the National Guard does not have arresting powers. So they're not coming here to arrest the Chiraqi YNs. Instead, what I believe they're doing is they're going to come here and they're going to dismantle the cartel because the cartel has already been declared a terrorist organization, and now the military is coming here to dismantle them. Because yesterday, El Mayo, who is the counterpart to El Chapo, was convicted and given a life sentence. And then last week, they found another drug kingpin who turned state, who imported like hundreds of millions of dollars of heroin to the west side of Chicago, right outside this window. And he turned state and gave them all of the information about what's going on here on the west side of Chicago. So I think that's what the National Guard is coming here to do. But it's, again, not to harass Chiraqi white men because they don't have the power to do that. They were able to do it in DC because within the DC charter, it states that the federal government can commandeer their police department. But that's not what's going to happen here. It's going to be something totally different.
But what is the public, the residents of Chicago? What are they saying? Do they want the
Happy.
National Guard?
Oh my God, people are happy. Dana, we've been asking for the National Guard to come here since the 70s. Shout out to the Cooley X Shy page, which is on Facebook. They put up old archives. However, Black people in Chicago have been saying we need the National Guard. Things are out of control. We're not getting justice from the Cook County courts. And now we're going to have to take it to the federal government. They had that big old press conference for little old me. Okay. I say, dang. Um, but they had their press conference. They said that they didn't want the president to come, and they just got to get over it because every single person who was standing in that press conference, their job was to legislatively get us not to this space. But because they have failed at their jobs for a plethora of reasons, now we got to call in Donnie. That's it. If they didn't want the president to come here, they should have been doing their jobs.
Well, I pulled up, it was this op-ed here. Would the National Guard actually curb crime in Chicago? And this person who wrote this, they believe no, it's not likely and could even exacerbate tensions.
Girl, forget them. Ain't nobody. First off, there is no tension between us and the police department. This was written by, I think it said Quinn Myers. We don't
Yes.
even know that man, okay? He doesn't live in our neighborhood. That looks like a white man. How does he know what's going to happen in Black Chicago? All these people who are talking about, oh, this and that's going to happen. Right now, the Powerball is $800 million. So if you have psychic ability, please use it to win the money and stop wishing bad things on Black Chicago. I think we're going to be fine. I think that we're absolutely going to be fine. People are not going to be out here talking mess to the soldiers, throwing bricks at them. We are mannerable people. People are going to be outside, hugging them, trying to twerk on them, giving them water. I mean, we are a city that dances on top of police cars. So why wouldn't we dance on top of the tanks? You know what I'm saying? Not that they're going to do that, but I'm saying like it's just not going to be as horrible as people are anticipating it's going to be. And I think it's because they don't understand how the National Guard works.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, your mayor and your governor, they had a press conference that I talked about that on my Monday show. And I know Mayor Johnson, he said that, basically what Trump is trying to do is somewhat racist to, lock up people. It is racist. And then he went viral again on MSNBC because they was asking him I don't even think they were tough questions.
Direct.
Yeah, direct questions. And he was trying to dodge. So I want to play some of this here.
Okay.
Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, to respond to what you heard right there. Mayor Johnson, thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it. I don't have to tell you about the generations old problem of gun violence on the streets of Chicago. You are making some headway there just in the last couple of years. But what is your response to President Trump as he floats the idea of sending the National Guard into Chicago?
Well, good morning. First of all, a military occupation of the city of Chicago would not only be illegal, but unconstitutional and costly. The city of Chicago is not requesting that federal troops come and occupy our city. In fact, I have not heard any mayor across this country call for American troops to come and occupy our cities. Look, we're working hard every single day to drive violence down in the city of Chicago. Since I've been in office, there's been a precipitous decline in violent crime in every single category. Just this year alone, we have a 32% reduction in homicides, almost 40% reduction in shootings and shooting victims. Robberies are down nearly 35%. Carjackings are down nearly 50%. We're moving in the right direction because we're making critical investments. If this president was actually serious about driving violence down in the city of Chicago and American cities across this country, he would work with mayors to make sure that we have the necessary investments to continue to do the work that we have been doing.
Well, you've led me to my next question, Mr. Mayor, which is, if not for these troops coming into Chicago, what would a productive relationship with the Trump administration look like? If they were serious about fighting crime in the streets of Chicago, what could they offer you that would be helpful?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. First of all, he could start by restoring the over $800 million that was taken away from violence prevention efforts back in April. Look, when I first became mayor of the city of Chicago, I made multiple requests to the previous administration to invest in violence prevention. That request remains. But these are also requests that I know that are being made in Baltimore by Brandon Scott, who's doing an incredible job. Barbara Lee in Oakland, who's doing an amazing job. Karen Bass in Los Angeles. Many mayors across this country. Randall Woodfin in Birmingham, Alabama. You are seeing declines that we have not seen in in a generation. In fact, just the month of April this year, 2025, it was the safest April since 1962. Our work is working. This president and the federal government has a responsibility to ensure that cities have the resources that they need in order to continue to drive violence down across this country.
So I want to stop it there, because he's saying that if Trump wants to help, well, why don't he replenish the crime,
Anti-violence money. So let me tell you about the anti-violence money. The anti-violence money acts as an invisible line item for Democrat elections. Every year before its elections, they go and they give these guys who are formerly incarcerated men, they give them this anti-violence money in these yellow vests, and then they send them onto the street to do violence prevention and peace circles and all that kind of stuff. But what they're also doing is passing out literature and at times getting signatures. So I am not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it because it sounds good, but the way that they utilize it in the city is manipulative, and it keeps us stuck in the Democratic machine.
is crime going down, or are they inflating those numbers?
So I'm gonna give you a scoop, and I've said this on a couple of shows. About a month ago, I was at La Follette Park here in the Austin community with one of my guys. We were in the park. He had bought these little juices, so we were drinking them out of these little cups. And the police pull up in front of us in a Chicago Park District pickup truck, and they said, "Hey, no drinking in the park." I'm like, "How you know I'm drinking in the park?" He
Mhm.
like, "Oh, well, I bet if I tasted your cup, I would get it." I'm like, "Here, have some, then." So we laugh about it. And then he's like, "But no, seriously, the police are out here." So behind us, there was like this massive soccer game going on. And I'm like, "Yo, why you not back there bothering them drinking the Modelo's?" He said, and I quote, "We try not to bother them so much because we know that if we do, they'll get flagged in the system by immigration, and many of them are undocumented." So what that mean, Dana? They not reporting the crimes that the illegals are doing in a way to help them evade ICE. Facts. I got that straight from the police. I didn't ask that man for that, but I guess I got big eyeballs, so it makes me look trustworthy. But yeah, he told me all of that, and my friend I was with was like, "Man, he don't even know who he talking to." I said, "He don't even know who he talking to," because I'm telling everybody. So that's the first thing. I think that they are manipulating the numbers. But I also think that they are recategorizing a lot of the crimes as well. So yes, murders are down. Yes, shootings are down. But we don't have spot shotter anymore or shot spotter anymore. So before, if there was a shooting, we had this technology that would kind of pinpoint it, and then that drove the numbers up. So they got rid of that technology, and now the numbers are down, which shows that now we got less shootings. It's all manipulative. But in the same breath, I can say that I saw the mayor about a month ago when I went up to him and I shook his hand. I mean, literally caught him in the street. I'm Mr. Mayor. Put my hand out, shaking. So he looking like he got that same face right there, like, whoa. And I'm like, "No, I ain't come to hate on you. I tell you when you're doing a bad job. I came to tell you when you're doing a good job." This summer has been a really good summer for us. It's been a calm summer. The vibe has been good. So I just want to let you know that you have been managing this summer well. And the people who were with him was like, "Man, he really needed to hear that, especially out of your mouth." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Because Mayor Johnson, you know." He like, "Yeah, I know what you be on." I'm like, "And I know, but I'm gonna tell you when you're doing a good job." So yes, the city is better, but we found out that they're manipulating the numbers.
Yeah, because Trump talking about a week, it was 6 people in a weekend that got shot and stuff like that. So, but because you live there, you kind of could tell that it's not as violent per se compared to other years and years in the past. So it says here, motor vehicle theft minus 26%, misdemeanor plus 2%, misdemeanor theft plus 2%, felony theft minus 16%, burglary minus 21, murder minus 31, criminal sexual assault minus 3, robbery minus 33. So um So it's funny because you're saying that, they're when it especially when it comes to the illegal migrants, they're not really reporting the crimes because they're not going to even inquire, you
Correct.
know.
Yes, and they told me this. Like I said, I have a witness to this. I'm not making this up because again, I asked them, "Why you bothering us and not them?" But like I say, at this, what I said, I happened to be on the show with Gary McCarthy, who was the former superintendent of the Chicago Police, and he was sitting there saying, "Well, we don't need this federal people. The crime is low. It was as low as it was in 2014, and that's when I was in charge, and we had crime together." And I said, well, Mr. McCarthy, in 2014 is when my first cousin, Abraham Cooper, was killed on the streets of Chicago. So that was a horrible year for my family. We should not be looking at the fact like, oh, one year we had 900 murders. Now we got 200 murders. 200 murders are still unacceptable. The number should be as close to zero as possible. But they want us to get used to this chaos. For instance, the day that the president got shot, I was with some campaign people here at Trump Tower at the rooftop bar, and they were crying and they were all upset, and I was just sitting there like drinking my drink, and they're like, "P. Ray, you aren't upset." I'm like, "He alive, right?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do he got tubes in him?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Then shoot, he okay?" They're like, "Man, that's such a Chicago thing. Like the president just got shot."
One of the great challenges in this.
And all you can say is like he okay because we used to people getting shot, and that's the dysfunction that my president is trying to get us away from. It's not okay for me to say, oh, if he got tubes in him, he okay. No, the fact that he got shot is the problem. So I hope that my president can bring that culture to the city, that this lawlessness and gun violence is not the Chicago way. That's not normal Chicago behavior anymore.
And part of inflating numbers, is not so much going into a data and switching up numbers. It is turning a blind eye, looking the other way, not inquiring, if this person is illegal, or knowing that, okay, something's about to go down over here. So inflating the numbers also means not doing your job, not
Correct.
patrolling properly. So and so yeah, so then if you're not patrolling, if you're not inquiring, if you're not investigating, that means you're not making arrests. And
Correct.
and those numbers. So if you make arrests, it's paperwork. So that's not being docket or documented it, which will add on to
The number.
numbers. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So, like for instance, the Mellow Bucks album release, 18 people got shot there, and that weekend we had 4 mass shootings that weekend. So we can say that the numbers are down, but maybe that's because they're shooting at crowds of people now and not individuals. Again, this is the city of Chicago, and gun violence is seen as an acceptable way to fix issues because people are failing to get justice in the Cook County courts. That's the problem. The Cook County courts. Dana, do you know that they found 5 men in the car? They had 90 rounds of ammunition in the car, extended switches, everything. They put them in Cook County jail. The next week, they go to court. The judge let them out. So now all 5 of them are out to complete the hit that they got caught doing. What is going on up here? That's why.
Oh, what happened?
Sorry about that.
Okay, so
Um, can you hear me, Miss Dana?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Oh, you're gonna have to go out and come back in. Yeah, she's gonna have to go out and come back in. Somebody called her and knocked her off. Let me text her to let her know. Uh, all right. Guys, please like and share. You can hear me?
Hold on 1 minute.
Yeah.
Please cuss me out. Hold on.
No. If somebody calls you, it does knock you off, and then you can't hear. So it's like it's just better if you go all the way out and then come back in.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Girl, you put your phone on do not disturb and they call you twice. But with that, what I was saying is that this is not okay. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. The fact that we are living in a city. Oh, I was talking about the Cook County courts and how people are not getting the justice in the courts. That's what's driving the violence on the street. Right now, I think the shooting clearance rate went up. At first it was 6%. I think now it might be close to 20%. So if you shoot somebody in the city of Chicago, if we put the shooting clearance rate at 20%, that still means you have an 80% chance of getting away with shooting somebody in the city of Chicago. The murder clearance rate is 32%, which means you got a 78% chance of shooting somebody or killing somebody in the city of Chicago and getting away with it. Like, those numbers are unacceptable. And the people who are upset, who y'all call boule, they are upset because they get paid from the violence. They're the ones who have the anti-violence programs. They're the ones who get all of this grant money, meeting all these RFPs, because if you cure violence, then they're going to have to go get real jobs. And they don't want to do that. So it's easier to have an organization, hang out during the day, go to events, get your money, chill out, be with politicians. So we've created an economy that's mostly based on social service grants rather than real capitalism. And that's the problem that we're going through in the city.
That's a great point. I didn't think that, and that makes sense. I want to play some more of this MSNBC video here.
Not policing alone.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Of course, we want more detectives.
I know it's not policing alone, but I know it's not policing alone. You've told me everything else you want. I'm curious, and this does come down to an ideological difference between people. Do you believe that the streets of Chicago would be safer if there were more uniformed police officers on the streets of Chicago?
I believe the city of Chicago and cities across America would be safer if we actually had, affordable housing. Look,
okay,
I'm not saying that
that's not the question I asked. My question is, and I just need a yes or a no, do you believe the streets of Chicago would be safer if you got all of those other extraordinary programs put back into place, which do have a history of being successful, if that's complemented by having 5,000 more cops on the streets of Chicago?
I don't believe that we should narrow it down to just police officers, Joe, is what I'm saying. That is an antiquated approach. I'm saying we've invested in detectives.
Mr. Mayor, are you hearing what I'm saying? I'm agreeing with you that all of these other social programs are extraordinarily important. I just need a yes or a no, and then this will be the last time I ask. If you get all of those other social programs that 800 million that New York City does, Los Angeles, other people do with great success, would an additional 5,000 cops on the streets in Chicago help complement those programs to make Chicago safer?
Look, we are working hard to make sure that our police department is fully supported. I don't believe that just simply putting out an arbitrary number around police officers is the answer. What I'm saying is policing and affordable housing. It's policing and mental and behavioral health care services. It's policing and youth employment. It's a full package. Of course, we want to make sure that our police department is fully supported. That's why I've invested in our Detectives Bureau, because what we have seen in the city of Chicago, when we solve crime, it acts and serves as a deterrent. It's policing and all of the other efforts that we're doing. Here's the last thing that I'll say to that. The federal government could work stronger to coordinate with my police department to get guns off the streets of Chicago. We've seen these coordination efforts work. Just a couple of weeks ago, the ATF working with my police department, we removed over 150 guns off the streets of Chicago that were trafficked in through Mississippi and Indiana. No one is saying that police officers don't play an incredible role in driving safety. They play an absolute absolute pivotal role in that. But we have asked law enforcement to do too much. Police officers are being asked to be social workers, counselors. What I'm simply saying is, if we're going to build safe and affordable cities across America, the one thing that safe communities all have in common, they invest in people. We have a poverty issue in the city of Chicago and cities across America. Police officers alone will not put food on the table. Police officers alone will not guarantee a high quality education. Police officers alone won't drive down unemployment. We need all of it. The President of the United States of America and the federal government could restore Medicaid. They could restore SNAP. They could stop defunding our public education system. Here's the most important point here. Justice Brandeis, over 100 years ago, the first Jewish American to sit on the Supreme Court, he said that we could either have a democracy or wealth in the hands of the concentrated few. He said, but we cannot have both. We are fighting for our democracy and our humanity right now. This president's nescience of the Constitution will leave irrevocable harm on posterity. That's why, as mayor of the city of Chicago, we are standing up to tyranny, and American cities across this country are doing the same.
Well, I agree, Mike, and we've talked for endlessly over the past several weeks months about Medicaid cuts.
So let me say this. I'm calling BS on everything your mayor just said, because I'm just going to sum it up. He's saying that, we need funding for this, funding for that, resources for this. Cops are not social workers, blah, 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 blah. Your city alone got $1 billion under the Biden administration. So everything this man is talking about now that he claims that Trump took away and needs to give back, or just need to give within 6 months of him just being in office, he got over $1 billion under the Biden administration.
And gave it to illegals.
And gave it to illegals, not to the people, not to these programs to help the people of Chicago, to help the police department, not to curb guns and drugs, not to curb the cartel. Is actually exacerbated.
Exacerbated.
How you say it?
Exacerbated.
Yes. So he's sitting up here on MSNBC lying. And so I'm just like, are people hearing this? So yeah, talk to that. Over $1 billion.
So yes, he spent the city into the hole. He spent the schools into the hole. But this is my first time hearing it. And there was a little bit of truth in that. Like when he said, when we solve crimes, that creates a deterrent. He started using the word deterrent when I started seeing deterrent, because I know he'd be watching. He might be watching right now. Shout out to my mayor. I'm looking at these comments. Y'all better get off my mayor, okay? You could talk about his policies, but all that other kind of stuff, y'all know Chicago people stick together. JK, LOL. But no, I'm kidding. Because they was like, is that a mountain peak on his head? He a discount for it?
Yeah, I saw that. Keep those comments coming. Keep those comments coming.
Not too much on us, because we'll squad up. But no, I'm serious. So that he's telling the truth on that. He did do a great job by getting those detectives, because now the murder clearance rate is higher. So we will clap for him. I always told him, Mayor Johnson, when you're doing a good job, I'm going to clap for you. I'm going to tell you you're doing a good job. But when you're wrong, I'm going to tell you you're dead wrong. And what he is dead wrong about is the fact that the Chicago Police Department does need more money. We do need more police. So, I'm sure you guys have seen these massive, what they call street takeovers here in Chicago. And it could be a party that can swell to 1,000 people in the street. And I was talking to a woman who works for the Chicago Police Department, and she said the reason that these parties get so wild and out of control is that at night the police are working on a skeleton shift. So if they're having a party with 1,000 people outside and all 15 people that are working in the station that night go to the party, then the rest of the district is unpoliced. So they are allowing a lot of crimes to go because we don't have enough police in our police department and we are understaffed. He could be talking about that. Brandon could also be talking about how, although we are doing a good job, we're dealing with this international terrorist organization that has made Chicago its home turf. He never talks about them, which is why I said they need to do an investigation on who got paid to reduce the crime, because obviously they got to be in on the deal. who's getting paid to make sure that people are not doing all of this drug trafficking. We got the DEA here, the FBI here, the ATF, the CPD, Cook County Police, state police. Why aren't we doing the work? Obviously, because y'all can't do it. So he should be saying, we are going to accept your help because we need the help. We are understaffed. So check it out. Say, for instance, if the National Guard went to one of the night parties, which I hope they don't because the night parties are popping. But let's say they go to the night party and they're like, okay, everybody got to go home. So of course the people go, they're gonna dance on the National Guard a little bit, but eventually it's going to disperse. And then that way the people who are working at the police district can continue to police the rest of the districts. So he needs to figure out how they're going to work in tandem, but they are coming, okay? They're coming. The people are happy that they're coming. I'm sure you saw that girl on CNN when they asked her, are you happy to
play that.
yeah. Well, we'll play it, but you see what she said. Like her sentiment
Hold
is
that,
the
hold that
sentiment.
for 1 second. I want to finish playing the rest of this clip, and then
Okay.
I'm gonna go to her clip. But I have a question for you as well.
Proportionally hurting the poor, while tax cuts disproportionately help the richest billionaires and multinational corporations. Same with SNAP funding. And I will say, even though a lot of Democrats don't like to talk about it, I'll even say USAID. We need to help the poorest of God's creatures overseas as well. So I agree with that. And I also agree, police by themselves aren't the answer. But you look at all of the great social programs that the mayor was talking about and a strengthened police force. I think most Americans would agree combined, that would make a big difference.
Yes, it would. And you know, Mr. Mayor, in what you were just talking about, Chicago is unlike, it's just like a lot of other American cities, big American cities especially. If you pull the string on crime, especially juvenile crime, you'll find that that string will lead you to fractured family structures. It will lead you to juvenile crime, growing juvenile crime, and it will lead you eventually to not enough good teachers and not enough good elementary schools. So my question to you is, in terms of the money that you're talking about the federal government taking from you, how much is being deprived from getting to local public schools in Chicago?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And as a former public school teacher here in Chicago, I can tell you, our school district is a microcosm of the larger challenges that we have system-wide. And if you just look at ESSER funding, for instance, if the federal government would have extended the ESSER dollars for the city of Chicago and cities across this country and school districts, we would literally have a surplus in our budget to provide social workers, counselors, libraries, librarians, class sizes that are manageable, protecting the LGBTQ plus community, protecting the immigrant community, protecting Black history, ending this privatization of public assets, right? These are real consequential challenges, right, that we are experiencing because of the defunding of our public education system. We're working hard in Chicago and the state of Illinois to ensure that every child has a high quality education. Joe, you said something earlier that really resonated with me. My desire is to build the safest, most affordable big city in America where children can actually walk to school. I'm old enough to remember when we could do that. Walk to a neighborhood school where the teachers taught my brothers, they taught my uncles, right? We're talking about standing communities that allowed for communities to be strong and to be firm. And that's what we're building in Chicago. And you're absolutely right. Cutting those critical resources to poor people across America is unconscionable. It is one of the most iniquitous forms of governance that I've seen. As I said before, Matthew 25:40, when you do unto the least of these, you do it unto Jesus. And that's the conviction that I lead by. And unfortunately, our federal government has lost its way in terms of its perspective.
All right, so I'm calling again. Your mayor's full of shit.
Oh my God, the girl, he be killing me with them scriptures. That's why every time I go up there, I tell him, since you are a preacher's kid and I'm a deacon's kid, let's have some Bible study. 1 Timothy 5:13 says, he who does not take care of his own home is a non-believer and worse than an infidel. So let me tell you how you can prevent yourself from going to hell, Brandon. You got to take care of us first. But he don't want to do that.
And he did not. And again, over $1 billion just in the city of Chicago for all these social programs
Yes.
for illegals. So where's that money? Why are you begging or condemning the Trump administration for turning off the faucet because you gave it to illegals? And what happened to those programs?
The illegals are still out here thriving. They got cars, they got houses, they get food stamps in the amounts of thousands of dollars. I was just out getting signatures for Rae for Congress, and although I have a Republican petition, people were very anxious to sign, and they said we signed it because how they got 5,000 worth of link and they only giving me $200 a month. I told them because you got a social security number and they don't. So next time you go to the A office, tell them you want whatever hookup they give it to the migrants. They just JB Pritzker, the governor, just signed for the illegals to get financial aid to go to school in the state of Illinois, which
So they're
means
still getting all these tangibles.
yes, which means it ain't no more FAFSA. Nobody should have to fill out a FAFSA anymore if the illegals can get it, because that means that they're about to get financial aid with no social security number, which means that the loans that they're getting will not affect their credit like it's affecting ours. That's what we're looking at. And I think that my mayor and my governor failed to see that we are drawing we're failing to draw a parallel between how they're treated and how we're treated. Our mayor could have been great. He's from the neighborhood. His wife was chief of staff for the alderman's office for 10 years. The West Side was with him. They were ready to put him on their shoulders. Now everybody is pissed because all he does is figure out ways to pinch from us to give to them when he keeps saying there's enough for everybody, but we starving and they feasting. How does that work?
Thank you so much. The retail trader one says CPD is 11K, 11,000 personnel. How many more cops do they need to get the desired result? Well, apparently they need the National Guard because, like you said,
in the city of Chicago, how 11,000 police gonna police 3,000? I mean, 3 million people.
well, you need the National Guard, and then if those 11,000 stop turning a blind eye to the illegals and the drug and gun cartels, maybe something will get done. But I want to go to the people, right? I want to play this clip here. Let's see something. Oh, I had it on mute.
This is a good.
Can you hear that?
My first reaction was that this is a good thing. I think that the governor as well as the mayor should be on board with it, just so we can get a bit more of security in Chicago the way that we need.
The crime has dropped since 2024. Do you feel like the city feels safer?
No, not at all. No, especially with the police being defunded. My first reaction was that this is a good thing.
Okay, yeah, that was it because it's only 21 seconds. So, was this the clip you was talking about?
When I'm talking about, first off, I love her Chicago accent. I love how we talk. But yeah, she's telling the truth. Now, she just said that the police were defunded, so things are worse. And she believes that the National Guard is going to be a good thing. Everybody is saying the National Guard is going to be a good thing. The only thing that they're really saying is like, oh my God, they might try to do something to the young boys because the young boys might try to fight them. But the young boys aren't going to try to fight the National Guard. Come on now. It's not like there's a video of the police getting beat up at a block club party, and it was wild. However, that's because those people on that block knew those police from that station. So that was more like a neighbor beef. We're not going to jump on no on no National Guard with these big old guns. Who does that? Nobody. And again, their goal is not to come here and police the young boys.
Okay, why people keep calling her? Why do people do that? Right in the middle when my guest is on a roll, honey.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear
Hello?
me? Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello?
Go out and come back in. Yeah, she's gonna go out and come back in. Why do people constantly do that? That is so annoying. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I told you they call you twice when you don't answer. But I mean, if you have it on Do Not Disturb. But yeah,
So
not coming to bother.
So
Not coming. They're coming for the cartel. I want to just make sure that everybody who's watching this understands that this is a military campaign. With military campaign, not to hurt the Negroes in Chicago. Nothing more, nothing less. Everybody calm down, please.
All right, so I'm gonna play this clip here, right? And you see, with this green, red, and black flag, you already know what type of BS time they on, because there are people saying we don't need the National Guard.
We believe that the National Guard and the military occupation is the first step into rounding black people up and putting them in detainment camps here in Washington, D.C. and around the United States of America. We believe that.
Well, he has some wrong beliefs, because they're not, the National Guard don't round people up and put them in detention camps.
That man probably ain't read a book the first, as my grandma would say. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but what they're doing is they're trying to emotionally manipulate the people against their own safety and security by using dog whistles from slavery. Now, it's very important to remember that during Reconstruction, a Republican president had to send in the military to protect the Negroes from the Democrats in the South. And the same thing is happening 150 years later in Chicago. Same thing, y'all. Same. We're dealing with the same people. They would rather for us to live under lawlessness and chaos while they continue to tell us to find comfort in this chaos than just to make us comfortable, because they don't respect us enough. They think that we want to live like this, and we don't. Nobody wants to live like this. It's very uncomfortable. But all these people you see standing there, those are all those people. What you're about to see is $1 billion worth of pensions, okay? Because some of them people sitting there got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pensions, which is why the schools are broke and the state is broke. But then what you're also going to see is a bunch of people who would rather us continue to suffer than get the help that we need from the federal government.
And I want to play this clip.
As the mayor of this city, I can tell you that Chicagoans are not calling for a military occupation. They are calling for the same thing that we've been calling for some time, and that's investment. What safe cities across America all have in common, they invest in people, and that's what we're doing in Chicago. We need the federal resources to make sure that we're building more affordable housing, expanding mental and behavioral health care, education, all of these things that could reduce crime and provide real community safety. Instead of spending hundreds of millions of dollars for a publicity stunt to invoke chaos and terror, the federal government should spend that money on proven solutions to crime and violence reduction. We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down.
Yeah, so what the Democrats, their one trick pony is to always bring up race and racism, going back to slavery. And it's like, no, dude, because you had your chance under the Biden administration, and you chose to give all these tangibles and all these resources, to illegals to make sure that they're A-okay. So I just, first of all, I don't trust any politician, but,
You better trust me, because I ain't never lied to you.
Right. Well, I more so look at you as a statesman, which is, those are the statesmen are more authentic and genuinely help the community, and you do what's right by the people. But politicians, and like you're saying, they're all getting their hands greased with money, access, connections. They're not actually wanting a solution. They don't want a solution, because if you actually solve crime, then you're going to be out of a job.
Then ain't no more anti-violence programs. Ain't no more violence prevention if it's no violence. But I want to tell you this, because they talk about, the police being here and we don't need this and we don't need that. I went to breakfast the other day with a community leader who lives here on the West Side. And for those who live in the city, he said that his family owns a home near Madison and Pulaski, or more toward Jackson and Pulaski, but in that space. They sell more drugs than a little bit right there. Okay, that's actually the epicenter of drug trafficking in the city of Chicago. It's literally an open air drug market. So his family had began to call the police and report, because they didn't want that chaos on their block. This is his grandmother's block. So he said he went to go visit her, and the guys was like, "Hey man, Joe, come check it out. Why you calling the police on us?" And they like, "Police? I ain't calling no police on y'all." They like, "Yes, you did, because the police told us that you've been calling. And you better not come back over here anymore." So he has not been back to his grandmother's house for 5 months.
Yeah.
That's why we need the feds here.
Hmm.
But because the cartel has so much money that they have literally tainted how we get justice in this city. There's no way that an international organization can set up shop and sell over $1 billion worth of drugs a year and traffic all these people up here without them having help by the people in charge. That's why I've been begging my president to come here, because we need somebody outside of them to come check out what's going on here. That's why I've been saying, please, Mr. President, come to the city of Chicago. Just check it out. Just get in my car. You know what I'm saying? Get in my car and I'll drag you around and you can see what I'm talking about. Y'all, we are suffering here. But what we also want, Miss Dana, is for every one troop that he sends, I want 2 prosecutors, okay? Bring Pam Bondi with you, because what we're also dealing with is the fallout of legislative mismanagement and corruption. And if we could see some of these very corrupt politicians get handcuffed and marched out of City Hall, that too would be a deterrent to crime, because people would know that you can't steal no more in Chicago. They got to start with the politicians, and then they're going to see that crime is going to drop substantially, because they like, if he could steal, I could steal.
Let me say this. Let me include this too, because I believe, because yes, Chicago, that is known for a direct line from Mexico all the way up to Chicago for guns and drugs when you talk about the cartels.
Yes.
And that is a fact. I believe National Guard come in for those 30 days that they are legally entitled to be there. Either it's going to be completely slowed down or zero transaction of guns and drugs coming in via the cartel, because now you have military officials, on the streets. So, I'm curious to see those numbers, because I'm pretty sure Trump is going to have those numbers and gloat about it. But when the National Guard comes, and I do believe the National Guard is going to come to Chicago, and I really do hope they do come to Chicago, and we see the numbers, his numbers, and compare it to the Chicago police, you're going to see. I think that people would see a drastic decrease of this was what was going on before, and this is what's going on now. Zero drug and guns trafficking, scooping up illegals without the interference of the city or city police or governors, what they were doing in California.
The police cannot participate in ICE arrests. So this is even a better reason, because guess what? Now the ICE can come to the city and they can be backed up by the National Guard, and that could work because the cartels are the ones who traffic those people up here. You understand me?
Right.
So every single illegal is.
I think this is Trump's way. This is Trump's way of not even subliminally, but just openly telling the cartels, like, we coming in and we gonna slow down your whole corporate,
bag.
the whole operation. Yeah, we're gonna disrupt it. Let me bring this super chat up, and thank you, Courtney Smith. She says, "Good evening, Dana and P. Ray. A lot of the crime here in the Chi goes ignored by police too. In some cases, they don't even answer phone calls." So you mentioned that earlier. Yeah. So so if they're not arresting, then the numbers go down.
That's all I'm saying, because it's still going down on the street. 3 days ago, a woman, she was 27 years old, a 27-year-old mother of 9, and don't knock her, because some people ain't had kids, so she had extra for those who didn't.
7.
But yeah, she had 9 children at 27 years old. She was standing on her porch at 6 o'clock in the morning, and somebody came and shot her in the face and killed her.
Damn shame. Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So how can we have incidents like that, but then still say in the same breath, "Oh, we don't need no help"?
who did it.
Nope, they don't know who did it. They never know who did it. They when at that Mellow Bucks album release when they shot those 18 people got shot in downtown Chicago, and there has not been an arrest yet. How?
I want to play this clip of you here. I have this one. You was on, what is this, Real America?
Oh yeah, with Dan Ball, Real America News Network.
Yes.
I know you're not a fan of Mr. Let's Go Brandon. I don't think you and I really went after Pritzker too much. He's usually too busy at the subway grabbing a sub. But I don't think they want Donald Trump and the troops or the federal officers. But you've been there your whole life. You've been out there running Chicago. Red the last couple of years to get Trump supporters out to vote in 24. Now you're running for Congress. You were on the streets. You were talking with these folks. What does P. Rae Easley see out there and say about some federal help to crack down on crime in your beloved city?
People are so happy, Dan. First off, hey, how you doing?
How you doing? Good.
Yes, but the people are elated. The city of Chicago has been asking for federal troops to come here since at least the 1970s, based on the archives that I've read, for the exact same reasons, and that's because we can't get justice out of the Cook County courts. In the city of Chicago, if the police and the police department is doing a good job, shout out to CPD, they're not the problem. The problem happens in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, where they're pleading people, and then the Cook County judges are letting them out of jail. They found 5 guys in the car last week with almost 90 rounds of ammunition, and one judge put them in jail. They went back to court the next week, and she let everybody out. So now they can go and complete the hit that they got caught doing. It's not fair. But what? Yeah, they're not telling the truth. But I'm going to give you a scoop. I don't know if I've shared this with you, but about a month ago, I was at LaFollette Park, which is in the Austin community where both Brandon and I live. I was sitting there with a friend of mine. We were actually drinking juice out of these little cups that he bought for us. And the police drove past and said, "No drinking in the park." Now, behind us is a massive soccer tournament going on. So I said, "Why aren't you back there talking to the people drinking the Modelo's?" And he told me, "We don't bother them. We try not to bother them because we know that if we arrest them, they'll get flagged in the system for immigration. And we don't want that for them." So they're not even counting the crime that the illegals are doing. Yes, I have a witness who can corroborate this story. They are cooking the books. And this is why we need someone independent of the Cook County judicial system to come in and give us justice. And that's Donald Trump and the federal government. It's the truth. I'm consistent on what I say. I'm consistent. I'm out here. I'm watching it. Do y'all think that I like doing this? Do you think that I like going to City Hall, waking up in the morning, going outside, having people all in my face? No, I like to make biscuits, okay? I want to wake up and roll out biscuits and drink tea and watch daytime TV, but I can't do that because we are in the middle of an invasion, and everybody was acting like we were not in an invasion until we start saying, "Wait a minute, don't y'all see that we in an invasion? Act like we in an invasion and defend ourselves." And now we're defending ourselves. Brandon Johnson and the Chicago Teachers Union went down to Venezuela and have been going to Venezuela for over a decade, building relationships with these people and inviting them to the city of Chicago. We know that as a fact. Okay? Yeah, this ain't made up. They set all of this up, but they did not. These are a couple things that they didn't count on happening. One, they didn't think that Madani was going to get back in office. Two, they did not think that the people led by Chicago Red would say, "Wait a minute, don't do this. Don't pay these people any attention." And three, they did not think that the president would actually respond to us. So now that those 3 things have happened, now they are in a complete state of panic. Okay.
Right. No answers. And then 2, nobody is now holding them accountable for all those billions and billions of dollars they got under the Biden administration for the illegals. Like, they don't even mention that. And it's like, well, we ain't forget the people of Chicago and forget the people of New York and everywhere else. Black Americans didn't forget. And
we'll never forget. It'll never be the same again.
All right. So P. Rae, I appreciate you coming on. I just got one more thing that I want to bring to your attention and the audience, because I fell out. Girl, I fell out when I saw this. Let me share it. And the reason why I want you to comment, because this is your hometown. Honey, Shaka Khan is from your hometown.
Oh God! And they got this woman playing her. So I've been reading this. They say that they think that this is actually an internet hoax, because they can't find anything to like substantiate.
Gemini came back and was like, yes. So let me Google it right now, because this is real. Let's see. Is
Black folks ain't gonna let her play? Didn't she play Harriet Tubman too? So now she done went from Harriet Tubman to Shaka Khan. Didn't nobody ask for that?
it says yes. Let's see if you can see this.
I can see it.
I mean, let me make it bigger. Is it going to come on the screen? Oh no, let me do it this way. Yes, Cynthia Erivo is slated to play Shaka Khan in the upcoming biop titled Shaka, directed by Ava DuVernay, and scheduled for a May 2026 release. The film will tell the story of the legendary queen of funk life and career, from her beginnings on Chicago's South Side to her rise as an international icon. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Because she very disparaging things about Black Americans, and how, first of all, she was a horrible Harriet Tubman. Yes, it says here, it says film title Shaka, director, blah, blah, blah. But I want to play what Goffey has to say about her in a couple other clips.
That Cynthia Erivo, who's playing Wicked, the witch, in Erivo, she said some really disparaging shit about African Americans. And then she ends up playing...
Is she British?
She's British Nigerian. Okay. If I'm right, I better be right, because I want to make sure if I'm not, you guys can go in the comments and go, he don't even got it right. That motherfucker don't say nothing right. She said some disparaging shit about African Americans. I want to make sure I quote it right, but if you can get your producer to find it, that would be cool.
Mario,
because I don't want to say anything out of pocket. And she said some shit about, which is funny how almost every foreigner has something to say badly about African Americans. Even Africans sometimes have fucked up shit to say about African Americans, but then everybody comes to America trying to be African American.
And benefit off of our struggle and the work that we put in.
Yeah. And what's really fucked up is she ended up playing Harriet Tubman. I go, wait a minute, you just talked about and shit on, what's her name? Erivo, that Cynthia Erivo.
And then I want to play this clip here.
Black American.
Can you hear that? Oh, what happened? Where'd she go? Let me share it again. Honey, I fell out. What is this? We cannot have this. First of all, she's ugly. Cynthia's ugly. She wasn't always unattractive. She just looks creepy with her long fingers. And Shaka Khan is beautiful. Beautiful. Just because you could sing and Cynthia can sing doesn't mean that you could play our famous icons. That does not mean that. It doesn't mean that. So I don't understand that. This is very disappointing.
Black Americans, we got some fucking work to do. This is serious business. Check this out. Yes, this is true. I went into Google, I typed it up myself. It's confirmed. We got some work to do, y'all, because we can't keep allowing this to happen to our icons. We can't keep allowing foreigners to play our icons. We cannot continue to let foreigners into our politics. We cannot continue to let foreigners ruin every fucking thing our ancestors worked for and built. This is complete disrespect to Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan is still alive. This is complete disrespect, okay? Ava DuVernay, this is directly to you, and I do hope you get this. And I mean this with every fiber in my fucking bone.
He's cursing too damn much. Like, here's another thing. Why got TikTok people or people when you do reactions or these little clips, why y'all gotta curse so much? And why do you have the creepy music? It's so annoying.
Shaka Khan, I want you to know, I won't be watching it. If you endorse that and you approve that, I'm not watching that shit. Not from a lady that looked like a damn gargoyle.
Here we go again with the curses. I don't understand. Like, why do y'all have, it's like, we get it. And it's like, no, I would not be. But here's the thing though. I know there's about to be a boycott. Yes, we gonna have to boycott this. We're gonna have to boycott it before they even start filming. And they probably already filmed it already. They probably, if it's going to be released in May of 2026, that movie was probably already filmed and being edited. It's already in the can to be edited and released. And it's going to flop. It's going to flop. And so it's a thing to where they say, okay, there's no such thing as bad press. There is, because FBA, Freedmen, ADOS, Black American, we're going to say Negro. Phone died. Her phone died. It's at 1%. And she probably forgot that it was low. She probably forgot it was low. Oh, damn. Let me see something. Are you going to hop? Can you hop on or no? Can you hop on or no? Her phone died. But here's the thing. This movie is about to be boycotted. It's going to flop. It's going to flop. We're going to drag Cynthia. We're going to drag Ava. Everyone's going to watch it on bootleg. They're going to watch it on bootleg. It's not going to get supported. And if people are pushing back now, I'm pretty sure if they have not started filming, then they need to change the lead role who's supposed to be playing Shaka. If they already filmed it and it's already in a can to be edited, it is not going to do well. But I'm just sick and tired of Black people. And I don't even know, I'm believing Ava is foundational, but it doesn't matter. Black Hollywood, stop allowing Jew Hollywood to dictate who you cast, because it's a disrespect to foundational Black Americans. It's a disrespect to our freedmen history. It is. And yes, they come here, they disrespect, they try to belittle Black Americans as if Black Americans are not disciplined or talented in the field of entertainment, which is a lie. Majority of people, the reason why Black immigrants come here, and Idris, he always gives props because he said, listen, he got put on here in America. They come here to get put on because they was not getting any type of jobs in England. They weren't even getting any jobs in the entertainment industry in different continents in Africa. But these people come from England, the parts of Europe, these Black immigrants. They're not hired there. They come here to America, they get hired, they become stars, they become successful, they blow up, and they want to talk shit and give the middle finger to Black Americans. So it has to stop. Oh, she's Haitian, Ava Duvay, however you pronounce her last name. But either way, now, yes, they have been Black Americans playing South African, Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman.
Hey, I'm back. Is this okay? Or I can log off because I got to plug it up.
Oh, your headphone?
Yeah.
Oh, just mute up for 1 second. Just mute up. And I'm gonna put you backstage and I'm gonna bring you in real quick just to get someone your 2 cents on it. Black Americans have played non-fictional and fictional characters throughout the diaspora, but we approached it with respect. Black American actors never disrespected Black immigrants. Not in education, not in entertainment, in any type of genre. We never disrespect their work ethic, their talent, none of that. But they feel comfortable disrespecting us. So when we play these roles of these fictional and non-fictional characters throughout the diaspora, it is approached with respect, with detailed research, with care, with love, with honor. But these people here, when you interview them, I've never heard of Harriet Tubman. I never read her story, but I did, I did my research when I got the part. When I read the script, I started reading a little bit up on it. No, you don't do that. You become that character. And every character, who was it? I forgot his name, but he even played Idi Amin. We already know the history of these political figures and political activists. We are already taught about history throughout the diaspora, here in America and throughout the diaspora. So when an actor here gets a role and is somebody, Nelson Mandela, whoever, it is done perfectly and with respect. And if you notice, the Black immigrants that get the roles here to play are Black activist figures, right? That it's horrible. They do a horrible job because they're not willing to educate themselves on our culture and our history. So this here is already a flop. You see how beautiful Shaka is? And then you look at Cynthia. No, ma'am, that's not going to do. Are you still there, P. Ray?
Yes, ma'am, I'm still here.
So I wanted to get your 2 cents on it.
So, firstly, the reason that they choose these foreign actors is because they're cheaper. They don't come with the benefits. These are not SAG members. You don't have to do any of that. It's just like hiring the Mexicans to put up your drywall. Now they are hiring foreign Black people to play Black folks because Negroes are too expensive to pay. Every time they bring in immigrants, it's because they feel like the Negroes are too expensive to pay. Frederick Douglass was telling us this in the 1830s. So here we are 150 years later having the same conversation, or 200 years later, or 290 years later, having the same conversations over and over again. Now, Samuel L. Jackson has been telling us about this for quite a while. He's the first one to bring attention to it. He's like, wait a minute, they hiring all these foreign people because he's the hardest working man in Hollywood. So if the hardest working man in Hollywood is saying that he's having a hard time getting roles because they're bringing in these foreigners, then this is a really big deal. And when he said it, they said that he was a xenophobe, that he was not trying to look out for Black folks. But one thing I will say is that in this delineation environment and in this America First patriotic space, I think a lot of this is about to stop. I think that after this movie flops, just like Harriet flops, they're going to see that people just don't like Cynthia. She's not pleasant to look at. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what qualifies her to play? Now, I think Shaka Khan and Nicki Minaj look alike. Not even that Nicki Minaj should get the part, but at least it would have been more respectful to Shaka Khan. This woman has nothing in common with Shaka Khan. Not at all, not even a little bit. And her aura is bad. Y'all see Ariana Grande hung out with her and did a movie, and she sucked all that girl's essence out of her body. Right now, she all skinny and frail and decrepit and was crying the whole time. We don't know these people. I think that we as a people, as American people, we owe it to ourselves to demand that Americans are working in Hollywood. And if they can't meet those demands, we got to start watching their movies. Support your local bootleg man. That's what I say.
One more thing. Was there 3 cops that got shot in Chicago today?
I haven't heard about it if it did happen. I've been running all day, so I haven't had time to check the local news. Oh, but before we go there, I see people talking about Idris Elba. Fun fact: Idris Elba is a Negro man. So there was.
His grandfather is foundational.
Yes, he is from Kansas City. He's one of those people like Nettie from The Color Purple who moved to Sierra Leone.
The grandfather moved to Ghana
to Sierra Leone.
The war, and then he married someone from there and had his mother.
Yeah, and then they moved to Britain.
Right. So his grandfather is FBA, but he ain't really full. But I get it. But
because but what I'm saying is, at least he got the blood of our people in him. You know what I'm saying? Like, Americans deserve to work in America. That's it.
Right.
That's all. That's all we want is for people to pay into the tax base. These foreigners are not paying the American taxes. If we just focus on the taxes and the money aspect of it, it'll be an easier sale for all of America.
Right. Right. All right. Thank you, P. Rae. I appreciate you coming on, girl. I know you had a long day, so I really appreciate you.
You're welcome, girl. Like I said, tomorrow, if you all are gonna be watching TV, I'll be on Newsmax around 1:30 Central Standard Time. If you want to go back and check out some of the Fox News stuff I've done this week, I've been on there a couple times. Check us out. Go to chicagored.org and PRAE47. That is PRAE47. That's in the Illinois 7th Congressional District. We're gonna bring justice to our people and get us back working because we deserve that in our country.
All right. And I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you. See you.
Bye. That's my girl, P. Rae. Lure. All right, everybody. Listen, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And you know what? I'm going back to Wednesday. I was like, listen, I haven't done a night show on Wednesdays in a while, but I'm going back to the daytime. I like the daytime better because at night I'm ready to take it down. I'm ready to take it down and relax at night. And it's like, okay, I have to get up and do the notes and, be perky and stuff like that. And the only thing I'm going to do right now is just relax. So listen, thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you, the retail trader, Courtney, for the super chats. Thank everybody for tuning in. Everybody in the chat, please like and share and make sure you comment below in the comment section. And I will see you Friday for a Friday night panel. Yes, now that I will be doing. So Mondays and Friday shows will be in the evenings. Wednesdays will be in the afternoon at 3. Yes. All right. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Let me get this. There you go.